An example would be aspirin. It was cleared for pain relief originally, but then doctors later discovered that it was helpful for some cardiac issues. Because the aspirin companies obtained research that provided evidence of the benefits of aspirin regarding these cardiac issues, they're now able to make this additional claim. This is why peer-reviewed EPFX research is an important endeavor that its communities of users can support. But until that research is in place, the only legally safe claims about the effects or use of the EPFX should remain as what it was originally cleared for: muscle re-education, stress reduction, and relaxation training. All of the specific programs on the device are regarded and communicated as such. For more information about supporting EPFX research, please visit the Quantum Biofeedback Advocacy Association website at www.qbaa.com. Now, there are some program verbiage changes to remain aware of. The following programs on the device can be referred to in accordance with the device's clearance and are part of the CAP. These buttons will be renamed on the main test page's Programs drop-down menu list on the new software version to be released soon. Allergies program becomes hyperreactivity training. Spiritual healing becomes spiritual relaxation training. ECG becomes electrophysiological oscillation frequency. Pain becomes pain cybernetic feedback. Timed therapies becomes timed cybernetic feedback. Therapy in general can be termed as programs or universal feedback therapy, but training can be used for unlicensed biofeedback specialists. Auto meridian will become biofeedback meridian reactivity. And sports therapy will become muscle re-education for sportsmen. I would also suggest athletes verbally so as to be non-gender specific. One of the tenets of the device is for professional use. If you hold a license in a healthcare field, you may purchase the device without a prescription. To obtain it for personal use, if you're unlicensed, you must now obtain a prescription. Once you're then certified, you may conduct biofeedback professionally beyond personal use. If you're unlicensed, uncertified, and conducting biofeedback professionally, you must now become certified in order to continue conducting biofeedback legally. If a prospective purchaser does not intend to practice professionally, they will declare so on the paperwork that will be obtained by us after they obtain the prescription to purchase. The FDA will not, after August 1st, 2008, allow anyone to purchase the EPFX with the intention of practicing professionally with it unless they are either A, licensed, or B, certified as biofeedback specialists. So are EPFX verbiage recommendations totally driven by the FDA? And the answer is no. Many people assume that all legalities and verbiage considerations are primarily driven by the FDA, and that's not true. They do not regulate the health fields. There's another component to the legal picture in healthcare fields that everyone needs to be aware of, and that's licensing boards. Licensing boards in the health professions issue licenses to practice certain professions in healthcare. They maintain that only people holding those licenses can conduct those particular professions or conduct therapy and treatment that's designated within the scope of their profession. The cosmetology field also issues licenses as well, and the licensed fields require that you hold one of their licenses before you practice their profession. For example, you cannot professionally and legally insert needles into someone's acupuncture points without a license in acupuncture to do so. Licensing boards are regulated at the state level. Licensing boards have been known to ask the state attorney general to bring charges against unlicensed professionals that they suspect are practicing their profession without a license. Therefore, if you are unlicensed and certified, it's important that you do not convey your services, regardless of what they are, as services governed by the licensed field. What is the difference between licensed and certified? Well, the licensed fields are those where there's a considerable risk of potential harm involved in the practice of it, and therefore more skill and education is required for those fields. Certified biofeedback specialists, if they are unlicensed in other fields, are certified only. However, many people hold both a license in a certain field and yet are also certified in others. Examples would be a licensed acupuncturist who's also certified in biofeedback, or a licensed MD who is also a board-certified surgeon. What is the difference between licensed and certified? Well, licensed literally means holding a state license in the field that you practice in, such as a licensed acupuncturist, licensed MD, licensed chiropractor, licensed dentist, licensed psychologist, licensed nurse, and in some states, licensed massage therapists, although not all states require a license for massage. This also applies to licensed estheticians in the field of cosmetology. Holding a certification from a certification board is not the same as holding a license issued by a licensing board. Certified by a board infers that you've obtained a certain degree of training, and in many cases an extremely respectable one, and certification means different things in different fields. In biofeedback, certification by a valid certifying board is enough to be designated as qualifying for professional use. The licensed fields are generally those where there is risk involved, and therefore careful standards are set, and education is a little more rigorous. For example, a doctor could prescribe you a medication at a level that could harm you. They could misdiagnose you, or they could perform surgery which could harm you. Therefore, you need to hold a license to be able to practice medicine. An esthetician could harm you by using the wrong chemicals on your head and burn your scalp during a hair coloring, or they could miss with microdermabrasion and damage your nerves. Therefore, you must hold a license to do this and be properly trained. An acupuncturist could, if they made a mistake, puncture an organ with a needle if they inserted it too far. A chiropractor could conceivably harm you if they adjusted your neck or cranium incorrectly. Therefore, licenses are required for these fields. The licensed fields are those where there is risk of seriously harming someone in the practice of it, and therefore considerable more expertise is needed in order to do it safely. Why does biofeedback not require a license? Biofeedback does not currently require a license because it poses no significant risk. It's subtle, it's safe, it doesn't hurt people. It doesn't diagnose, puncture, sever, administer medications, manually adjust your spine, or apply acids to your skin to peel it. However, professional use dictates that you need to be trained to a professional level. Use an informed consent form and understand what you can and cannot claim with it. And although the risk is insignificant, you also need to know how to safely conduct a session and what the contraindications are. In almost 20 years of device usage, only one adverse event has been reported to the FDA, which is on their website, and it was easily designated as insignificant risk, and it was due to a skin irritation because of inappropriate uses of the harness. And the individual had an allergic reaction which caused inflammation. And the labeling has since been changed to show a clear warning, and that was the corrective action taken on that event.